Hello. Today I am doing a video for the inauguration of our first ever female Vice President, Kamala Harris, who is not only the first female, but she is the first female of minority status. So pretty exciting stuff, really. We have had inaugurations for our presidents since April 30th, 1789. In 1937, they were moved to 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on January 20th. They're approximately 72 to 78 days after the November election. And what is the inauguration? It's a recitation of the presidential oath of office. And it's really the only part of this that is required. And then we have, basically we have, musicians, it's more of a that day becomes kind of a parade and circumstance. We celebrate the day. Since 1981, the inauguration of Ronald Reagan, it was held at the west front of the Capitol, facing the National Mall. Since Ronald Reagan, that is now where we hold our inauguration. So it does seem to be something that changes in its own right, but it is a pretty well set process. And I want to talk about the 20th. I know that there is discussion that the 20th, being a day of the inauguration, that we need to be ever so mindful. And I think that no matter what, we do need to be mindful, because I think that really right now people are really polarized in a lot of ways. So this is a very difficult time. Joe Biden, his midheaven, or his ascendant, is in Scorpio, and Scorpio would be your sex, death, rock and roll house, the 8th house. Things can be emotionally charged for him. He can seem cold, unreadable, and lots of willpower and intensity that we just don't see, and thus he won. I think that I know myself, I just can't quite, the guy kind of, I don't know, but Kamala Harris, her ascendant, why I like her. She's sensitive and she's kind. Her ascendant is in the House of Roots, ruled by Sun, in Cancer. And she's going to be wary. She's not going to tell you that she thinks that you're full of it, but she's going to listen to you carefully. And if you got something going on that's not honest, she's going to be very willing to consider what she hears carefully and come back with a response. And for that reason, I'm kind of excited about Kamala Harris. I think that it's time to stop playing games, no matter what. The division has to stop. Why do we have division? Well, when one person holds all the purse strings and says, you get a coin and you don't, it doesn't take much for us to be explosive towards each other, because we're competing for the same coin. And our emotions are what drive us. If I feel like I am entitled to something that I don't get, and I get jealous and I misbehave, that's called projecting, okay? And a lot of us, all of us, have some fault in this range, that we want things to be better than they are, okay? And so with that, I am going to use my Wildwood Tarot. We're going to talk about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And again, before I go on, I want to say one more thing. I want you to keep in mind that in this sense, the sun is going to represent the president, which would be Joe Biden, as we go through the chart reading, and I'm doing a composite chart of both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. The moon is going to represent the public, which is going to be in void, of course, which is at 29 degrees. So you know, there is some things. We are weakened at this time. Jupiter is the cabinet, and, you know, it's interesting that, you know, now that the news is coming out that people were saying that they felt like their fellow cabinet members were trying to kill them. Well, as it turns out, we had people who had high clearance levels involved in this coup attempt, you know, and there was never really any hope for that to work. I mean, it's frightening that they tried it, but let's face it, it wasn't well thought out. And Mars is going to be the fight itself, which I'm just not seeing, and Saturn is for the government and the limitations for that father that we so desire to provide us the discipline, and why Trump was so successful, quite frankly, because people thought that they needed a stern and authoritarian type of father, because maybe they weren't so disciplined themselves. So with that, we will use the Wildwood Tarot, and we will put the laptop down and begin. Okay, here we go. I've got the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden chart, and I forgot to put that in there in the frame so you can see it. I got stuff falling off my desk. I got a little tiny desk because I like living tiny. Let's see if I put the laptop up a little bit, if it'll help me put that all in the frame so you can see it. Because for those of you who are learning astrology, this is an excellent opportunity, and this is a composite chart, so I've combined two charts, and if you notice that I've crossed off one because I'm not using it, so I don't want to be misleading anyone into thinking that I'm doing stuff that I'm not doing. As I'm a student, I want to be careful and have what I do translate into something that's meaningful and right for you, the viewer. So I'm using the Wildwood Tarot, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and light my candle, since I'm fire dominant, just to kind of bring in a little bit extra. And Wildwood Tarot, we're going to do a tarot scope. I'm going to select 12 cards for our tarot scope, and we're just simply asking about Inauguration Day, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and this is so exciting in a way. I mean, we've gone from being, last year, I was listening to a numerologist explaining that what type of year we were in and what type of year we're going into. And last year, she said, it was a 4, and it felt like a 4 to me. I mean, the structure of it, the confusion, you know, not to say that structure is bad, but, you know, at some point it became a little too structured for me. I'm a little bit more of a free spirit than all of this being confined stuff is about. So, you know, and we're going into a 5, which a 5 is an interesting number in that it can be division, it can be conflict, it can be some other things that are more divine and more connected. It can be just plain connectedness. So the basic foundation of the pack is empowerment, okay? And we start out, and I did a composite on this, and a composite basically is a chart where I'm taking the energies of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, and in a natal reading, and I am putting them together. Now, there's one detail that is so important that I would be failing you if I didn't mention it, and that is on the 20th, October 20th, 1964, is Kamala Harris's birthday. Joe Biden is November 20th, 1942, and the inauguration is January 20th, 2021. And we're going into the energy of a 5. So this authoritarian, structured 4-pillar energy, it's over. We've already transitioned out of it. So we get the 5 of Bows, empowerment as a foundation. Fascinating, right off the bat. Okay. Then starts off in the first house. Biden is got Jupiter and Pluto. I mean, he's basically expanding the darkness, okay, of the soul. And we know that he's had a lot of dark things happen to him. He's lost his wife, his daughter, his son to Cancer. So there's been a lot of activity in the house of soul for Biden, and that is in the house of information, or excuse me, the house of Cancer. I apologize. And so he is going to come out, and he's going to be about business. And Kamala Harris, she's going to come out and be about business. They are a mirror of each other. What one lacks, the other has. And now I've got another natal chart that I've recently done. Of two different people that have a rather deep connection, and I don't want to go into it too much because it is personal and it's not something that I really have any business sharing, but on a personal level. But on an outer observatory level, when people are meant to work together, what I know is that the work they can do can be beautiful and powerful. That where two or more are gathered in my name, I am there. And these two are going to be reflective of each other. And their chart says so. And so they're very, right off the bat, the reading says they're going to be reflective of each other. Okay? And their chart says that. I mean, this is consistent with what the reading says. Okay? Biden has North Node in the house of income, ruled by Leo. So he is going to be someone that's going to come in, and already, you know, he's saying, yeah, I'm not going to rest easy. We're going to up that amount to 2,000 because it's just not a reasonable. And he's right. I mean, when we can't even pay our rent and they have to increase unemployment to subsidize our income enough to facilitate paying our bills, that, well, quite frankly, they want the money. I mean, the government and the people who want to collect, they want to collect. Okay, and that's Biden. Kamala Harris has Mars in Leo. Okay, and she's got Uranus in Leo. So she's saying, you know, I'm going to be aggressive about this. I'm going to come out and I'm going to say that it is not okay with me if a person can't pay their rent. And because she's had some advantages, disadvantages, being a woman. I mean, being a woman has its trouble. Trust me, it does. I mean, you know, I find myself amazed that because I'm a woman, I might, if I say something, I might be being hysterical, or I might not know my own mind, or some of the other, you know, generic things that we experience. You know, she is not going to feel like playing the game. And so there's that Uranus in Leo. She's going to come out and say, no, I'm sorry. Expect the unexpected. I'm not going to put up with this. And again, we're seeing some kind of response already. We're being told that the stimulus checks are going to go up and that an extra $1,600 is going to be added. And what does she get? She gets responsibility. Yes, she is someone that's going to be interested in helping provide a hand to those who need it. She knows what it is to feel oppression. And because she knows oppression, she's going to come at this from the point of view of responsibility. A 10 of Bows, okay? And fairly well-developed sense of responsibility, okay? In the third house of information, Biden has Neptune. Let's see. It is Neptune in Virgo. So this is going to relate back to his career. I thought I remembered this. And he is going to be basically, let's see, he's got Neptune in Virgo and Pluto. Let's see, nope, that's not it. Neptune in Virgo. So my printer, on this particular chart, did not print out very well. Okay, so yeah, it's Neptune in Virgo. That's all it is. Okay, so he has Neptune in Virgo, and Kamala has Pluto conjunct Uranus, second house, and Venus, third house, information. Okay, so she's saying, expect me to dig out your secrets and provide information to the people. We're going to clean up house. It's time to dig out what's no longer serving and bring it back to something that will work. And she gets the Queen of Vassals, the salmon. This has already started. You know, she's already started the process of swimming upstream against the current, which I think we could all relate to that, to basically return to once who she was, to lay her eggs so that she can continue the process. So she's already started the deep process of finding her way home to who she truly is. And as she does so, that information she provides us is a wealth to our souls. Okay? In the fourth house, this is fascinating, okay? Kamala has Sun in Libra, okay? So that relates back to that seventh house of partnerships, which then relates back to Biden, Sun in Scorpio, okay? That squares up. It goes right back to it. These two are connected. She has Taurus in Libra. So she's saying, I am fair and balanced in a loving kind of way. I'm all about it, okay? And my mind, it runs deep on what's fair. I am going to be about what's fair. And then it goes on, and I'm fair to the collective. I dream about fairness, okay? And what does Biden get? Well, he is going to be aggressively fair in Libra or partnerships in the house of roots, ruled by the moon, okay? And what do they get? They get the Four of Boughs, celebration. They're coming together on the 20th, and they have obviously been through a number of, a couple of months now since they've been elected. And I'm sure that for them, this does feel like a celebration because that four corners trying to hold them down and say that it really wasn't theirs to have was really kind of a troubling process. And I'm grateful that 2 more days and we're not going to be in this dilemma anymore. It's like holding your breath. I mean, I don't want to make despairing statements against Donald Trump. A lot of people voted for him. A lot of people liked him. I personally did not. But there was a reason people wanted him in office, and there's a reason they're fighting for it, and that concerns me. And it is time for us to collectively start caring about our humankind. In our fifth house, our house of drama, okay? Biden's kind of busy in the house of drama. He gets Mercury conjunct Sun, conjunct Venus, okay? He's saying, I am the President of the United States. This is my drama. And that's right on his ascendant. And in Kamala Harris's case, she's saying, just make sure that is a Virgo and not a Scorpio, and I think that's a Scorpio. Yeah, it's in Scorpio. Okay, so she's in the fifth house, in the house of drama. She's got Venus in Scorpio. She's saying, I am sharp and thought out, and I'm about some of those more secret types of information, that plutonium, because that's going to just connect right back up to that seventh house, because Scorpio is a planet of Pluto, okay, of sex, death, and rock and roll, and it does connect back up. And so what do they get? She gets the green woman, that in some ways her position in this is faded. And I mean, I just find it really interesting, and I wish I knew a whole lot more about numerology, because it really jumped out at me that no, the 20th is not going to be a bad day, and oh my goodness, Kamala's birthday's on the 20th, oh, Joe Biden's birthday's on the 20th. There was just some things about it that even though there was some talk that this was going to be a day, I just don't agree, because there's just too many factors that suggest otherwise. And then I was listening to the numerologists talk about the 17th, and she said that if there was a day that things were going to blow up, it would have been on the 17th, which was yesterday. And I completely agree with that, because you add the 1 and the 7 together, you get an 8, a very well-developed and explosive situation. Okay, but that didn't occur. In the 6th house, ruled by Mercury, basically Kamala gets her south node. And she has, let me just kind of look back at my legend, because, oh, that's her ascendant, okay. Basically what they get is the 10 of Vessels in their house of career. They're happy. They are truly experiencing happiness over their career change. This for them is a celebrated day. I mean, it's the day of their lives. So there you go. In the house of partnerships, okay, everything about the sun in this house for Biden aligns with Kamala Harris. He's got sun in Scorpio, or excuse me, is it sun in Scorpio? Or sun in Scorpio, okay, in the 7th house of partnerships, which we've known the sharp truth of relationships for him have been difficult. He has, let's see, I'm not getting this right. He's got his north node in Capricorn, okay. Okay, I know why I'm getting it wrong. I'm reading the wrong chart. Okay, so I just couldn't figure out where my brain was at here. Okay, so Biden has sun in the 7th house of partnerships at this time. And basically, where he's coming from is, and that's in Venus, which is going to connect back up to that 10th house. So that's where we're going. Okay, so his sun is in basically in Capricorn, where he's going, which is the house of government. Okay, and she gets her part of fortune in Capricorn. And what do they get? Something new, an ace of boughs, a spark of life, something coming forward that is a change in the way we look at partnerships. And I swear, if people could just take a breath and let that oxygen go to your head a little bit and wait, I think you would find, and will find, that this combination is a blessed gift from God to us, because we needed relief, and relief like this bow and arrow is being provided, and thank you, Spirit. Okay, in the 8th house of sex, death, and rock and roll, Kamala has Saturn in Aquarius. She has Chiron in Aquarius, okay, in the 8th house of death, sex, and rock and roll. Biden has Jupiter conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, okay, and they get the 8 of Boughs, heart fire, okay. They are bringing us, because I think that we've been gaslit so bad that I don't think we know whether we're coming and going. We've got COVID so bad, we don't know whether we're coming and going. And we got a lot of people that unfortunately have some problems with self-control and boundaries and feel entitled and don't want to wear masks. And so we've done very poorly to get any control over the situation. And Chiron in the 8th house in Aquarius suggests that Kamala Harris is a healer. And I know that Biden in the 10th house also got something of a healing type of energy as well. Now, I mean, I'm not as into Biden. I've just got to say, I'm just not feeling Biden in the same way. And so I don't want to play him up and say that I'm feeling good about this when it's not true. But I do feel good about the combination. So that is true. That is a truth I can live with. And they get the 8 of Boughs in the 8th house of Pluto, where we really, if there's a place where we need some work done, it is in the house of secrets and sex, death, and rock and roll. We need insurance. We need money. We need ways to take care of our people, and we need to find ways to get the secrets rooted out. Okay. In the ninth house of higher education, the law, we have Neptune in Virgo for Biden, higher consciousness. Okay. And we get the Four of Arrows. That as a result of this, now this is kind of interesting, as a result of his inauguration, Biden and Harris will actually be able to take a breath of air. They haven't been able to rest easy. This has been, from a subconscious point of view, this has been kind of like a sliver in their side. It's been kind of an uncomfortable transition because, well, they weren't allowed to transition. So, and that's in higher education. In the highest office, okay, both of them have Moon in Aries. Biden's is 11 degrees, Harris's is 7 degrees, okay, in the highest office. So they're meant to work together in all kinds of ways. And here we are, Three of Vows, fulfillment. That's exactly right. This was fated, it was meant to be, and here we go. This is where we're at. They are moving into the frame as King and Queen of the United States of America, or President and Vice President. Okay. In the 11th house of secret groups ruled by Uranus, Biden has Uranus in, let's see, what does he have? In Aries, okay, and Saturn in Aries. And Kamala has, oh, wait a minute, it's Taurus, excuse me. I don't like that this came, the ink is so low. Okay, it's Taurus in Aquarius. So he's looking at the surprises right now, or yeah, he's looking at the surprises right now. And he is determining what the limitations to the unseen groups are. And I would say that that's a bit troubling for him. And what does Kamala Harris have? Well, not troubling, but, you know, I'm sure that it's a difficult, he's got to sort this out, is what this is saying. And what Kamala has is she has to expand in Taurus the information about what all went on. And they've got the Two of Vows. They've got decisions to make. Right off the bat, they're coming into office, and they've got to put out the fires. They've got to figure out where the fires are at, who's on fire, why they're on fire, and what they're going to do about it. And what's really so creepy is that government, in some ways, the people themselves were eating themselves. I mean, they don't know it, but they went into self-sabotage by going into the Capitol building and attempting to argue their point by force. We have laws for reasons, and anybody thinking that they had some right to go into the people's house and make their point known through force really failed to understand the truth of our highest office, okay, the law. And a lot of them were, in fact, people of the law. So this is a very troubling circumstance. How could they have been so naive? Okay, so, you know, I don't know, but, you know, we're really kind of having to deal with that right now. In the house of the unseen, Biden has his north node, okay. He was meant to work in the house of the unseen in Taurus. And guess who else has their north node in the house of the unseen? Kamala Harris, and it's in the house of information. They are meant to be in the house of the unseen and to look at and provide the information. And what do they get? They've got the moon. And they're coming in where we're in void of course at 29 degrees, where our weaknesses are in the unseen, to provide a way forward. And as that is the story, we head into the Aquarian age. That is empowering. We are going to experience as people some empowerment. And I think that is what people liked about Trump. They thought he was empowerment, but it wasn't quite empowerment. It was empowerment for some, but not for all. And then we get that slow-moving knight. It is going to take a little bit of time for them to sort out the issues and get things moving again. So we do need to operate in a way where our expectations are clear. It is going to take us some time to resolve, okay? And we are in mourning at this time because, well, we have sort of discovered some truths about ourselves. It's all reflective. And for those who went into Washington, D.C., they're reflective of a radicalization, a problem that we're experiencing. We're not feeling trust towards our process any longer, or our government. And I do think that it is upon our government or our process to look at that and do something about it and bring us out of mourning, because really and truly, to become bigger than this is what we need. And here it is, for us to go out of our narrowness and go into a bigger perspective, a global perspective, a world perspective. It is in that sense that we would be able to understand better what it is that we're trying to achieve, because I think that's maybe we don't exactly know. And by doing so, it puts us back into abundance. And that's 6 of Vows. And with that, please do, I'll put my laptop back around, hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and join myself and my lovely co-reader, Pearl Rowland, over on www.twiggie.com, and join us for a reading. We have reports available. You can order your natal chart and follow along. I can tell you that the reports are thorough, they're good, but there's nothing like having a natal reading done, because it is something quite special. They're with a bit of consultation and awareness of the energy, magic can happen. And I know this because my chart has taught me a good deal about things that have caused me to be uncomfortable throughout my life. And I think that any good reading can be something that sorts out some of those things that have just kind of eluded you. And with that, please do hit the like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for joining me here today.